Hi guys, it's me Julia, and in today's video I'm going to show you guys how I tack up Luna. Just a little disclaimer, this is not really a tutorial, this is just how I like to tack up Luna and the process and everything that I do. So let's get into the video. What I always do first before I start tacking her up, I always make sure she's 100% clean before I do any kind of tacking up, and actually did a little video of how I groom Luna. So if you guys want to check that out, I will link it down below. And then right after I'm done cleaning her, especially in her girth area and the saddle area, then I will start tacking up. Okay, now to what I need to tack up. Obviously, a saddle. I also use a half pad on Luna, and a basic girth, my navy blue numna, and my bridle, of course, and I also use a martingale. And then also her tendon boots and bell boots, which I also use every day because you gotta protect those legs. So I always start out by getting my numna and putting it on Luna. And I always put it slightly above her withers, just because it always slides back to where it's supposed to be automatically by the time I'm done tacking up. Next up, I go ahead and grab my half pad and just put it right on top of the saddle pad so it aligns with the saddle pad on top of your horse's back. And I just lift it all up and kind of wiggle it around so it sits nicely on top of Luna's back. Next up, I get the saddle and just throw it on gently on top of Luna's back. She's quite big, so I always find this quite hard. And then I always pull up the saddle pad and the half pad a bit and move it around just so it sits nicely. And then because at the beginning I placed it a little bit higher up, it automatically slides back to its natural position. So, and then once it's on, it pretty much just looks like this. And you also want to make sure that you pull up the saddle pad and the half pad kind of looking like this into the pommel of the saddle, just to make sure that you have air flowing through and it's not too tight on your horse's back. So I always double check that that's the case every time I tack up. Next up, I go around to the other side and just make sure everything sits the way I want it to sit. And then I go ahead and grab her girth, which is obviously a super important part of this routine. And now that I'm attaching her girth over here, I always want to make sure that I don't attach it too tight at the very beginning, just because Luna's not a huge fan of attaching the girth. And then also I still have to put on her bridle, and then after I put on her bridle, that's when I usually tighten it quite a bit. And I always make sure that even when I tighten it, there's always at least 3 fingers that still fit in between the girth and her belly. After I'm done putting on Luna's girth, I always move on to putting on her boots. I usually just use normal tendon boots on a daily ride, on daily flat work rides, and I also always use bell boots on her as well, just for extra protection. Before I put on her bell boots and her tendon boots, I always make sure that her feet and her lower legs, and especially her hooves, are really nice and clean, just because you don't want to have any irritations happening on your horse's legs. So it's always really important to double check that your horse has clean legs before putting on any kind of boots. After I'm done with everything except for Luna's bridle, I always put on my boots and my helmet just to have everything ready after I'm done bridling her. And then we bridle up. As I said earlier, I do use a martingale with Luna, so the first thing I do is throw over the martingale over her head and the reins as well. And then what I do first is I attach the martingale or the breastplate on both sides of the saddle as well as under her girth first before actually putting on the bridle. And I don't know, I feel like I'm the only one who does this, but I just keep my bridle hanging over my hand while I attach the breastplate. And then here you see me tightening her girth again, which is really important, as before I didn't actually attach it too tight, but now I tighten it quite a bit. Now that this part is done, I always remove her halter, and Luna's really good, she doesn't run away or anything, so that's nice. And then I just put in her bit and bridle up. And as I said, this is not a tutorial, so if you want to learn how to tack up or bridle up a horse, you should watch a professional video. Now I hop on over to the other side and start fixing all the leather bits and straps and start putting it all together and closing up the bridle. I actually don't use a flash with her. I haven't used one in a very long time, just because she gets bridle rubs really easily, and I don't really need a flash with her anyways. She keeps her mouth shut when I ride. And then there you have it. That's how I tack up Luna. This is my tacking up routine with her. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I didn't really film a better outro, so I'm just voicing it over right here for you guys. And if you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, comment down below if you guys have any suggestions, questions, or recommendations, because I answer all comments. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!